Caroline Barnes, and this is the lovely Kristen. Kristen is my model for today, and we would both together like to show you how to recreate your brows or a brow shape if you have lost any hair through chemotherapy. But there are many options of different products that you can use. But the first step is to actually find your ideal shape. Now, you may have not even had your ideal shape before, so at least you could be learning something at this session. So the first way to do it is just to use your kohl pencil. Make sure it's really sharp, just helps to give you a pinpoint, and we're going to find out exactly in dreamland where your perfect eyebrow would be. So from the outer corner of your nose into the tear duct here, you line up your pencil and you just basically press the kohl pencil very lightly into that area there. So that's where ideally your brow should start. You just look straight ahead for me. The next point, which is going to be the highest point of your brow, will go straight across your pupil. So again, you're using it from the outside of your nose across your pupil, just to here. Christine's got just a few little eyebrows there as well, very pale, you see them there. So that's our second point. Now the outer corner of the eyebrow will go from the outside of the nose to the outer corner of the eye and just bend your pencil round. And that gives you the last spot there. So with these 3 points here, whether you have no hair whatsoever or you have a few fine hairs, this is going to give you a general guide of confidence of where to start your shape. So it's totally optional. You can use a kohl pencil, you can use eyebrow powders, and you can use gels. You'll find that you'll find your perfect formula after you've tried a few things. If your skin is quite oily, you might find that the kohl pencil slips a lot. If your skin is quite dry, which is quite common when going through chemo, you might find it's better to use a powder. Have you used any eyebrow formulas that you love or really hate?
I like powders.
You like powders?
Yeah, powder's better than anything. I think it's a little bit less severe than the pencil on my fair skin. So.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes when you use the kohl pencil, it can look quite opaque. And if you haven't got a huge amount of hair, it can look quite strong against your eyes. So the shadow can give you a softness. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to be using an eyeshadow powder here. I'm going to be using a really flat, sturdy brush because I want to create just very fine hair-like strokes. I want to kind of give the impression of a fine hair-like stroke. So I don't want to create that flat kind of drawn-on brow as much as you can. Obviously, for those of you who don't have any hair, it's going to be difficult to avoid that, but even just building up in small layers will definitely give you a more natural effect. So you start from that point here, and just very gradually start building in the colour.
You suggest using a lighter colour people that have lost their brows completely normally?
Yes, if you're very dark haired, go for more like a sort of, it's like a taupey grey kind of colour. It's an unusual colour that you would think of using for your brows, but actually quite common when you start looking at brow products. But definitely it's a really good tip, actually go for a shade lighter. If you've had jet black brows before, to go jet black would be far too hard, and obviously you would feel uncomfortable with that type of colour on your brow. So very softly up to the point, and very delicately stretching out the top. And Kristen's got some very pale blonde hairs here, which are just catching the colour, which is lovely. See that shape coming through there. When you're doing your eyebrows, put a little mirror by it on a window ledge so that you're looking straight out the window. That way you can see it as clearly as it is. If you're at home and maybe you've got a makeup mirror or you're in a bathroom, the chances are you might just go a little bit too heavy. And when you go out into the daylight, then it looks, too obvious again. So if you look good in daylight, you're going to look great in any kind of overhead lighting or electric lighting. So that's our first brow, really soft, and the shape is perfect. What you might want to do is add a little bit of kohl pencil, just to give a little bit of depth. And what the kohl pencil does is, I'm using it on the side of the kohl pencil, and the kohl pencil is just catching very gently on Kristen's eyebrows. So it's just almost giving them a very subtle tint, which helps with our shape. Another little tip is maybe to get a picture of yourself when you loved your eyebrows, and a picture of maybe when you were going out one evening, and you love the shape of your brows then, and just have that next to your makeup mirror, and you can just that will help you achieve the shape that you had before. If you get a bit lost, sometimes you can go too far up the forehead, or you can take them too far down. So just really, really naturally building them up so they don't overpower Kristen's eyes at all. You can see the difference of having a strong eyebrow shape when you compare the shape to the other side. In fact, we can add a little bit more of ourselves back and we feel just that little bit more confident. Okay. Another great product to use is an eyebrow gel. Now you can use, I know you use a clear one, don't you?
Yeah, I just use a clear mascara, but...
So a clear mascara, some people put hairspray on a little brush and brush it through to keep the little hairs that they do have in place. Or you can use gels that have a little tint in them, like this one. Take off the excess, and this one has little fibres in, so if you've got a very fine hair regrowth where your hair's coming through but it's not quite enough to make a shape, putting this in actually gives the thickness to the brow that you really love. So just really very gently, you don't want to do it on the skin, you want to lift the brows up by putting the product in but not depositing the colour onto the skin, just keep it on the brows. If your brows are very, very blonde, this really helps you to determine where they are, especially if your eyesight's going. It's really hard for people to do their makeup if they can't actually see in the mirror. So actually by just tracing this brush through your brows, it picks the colour up. So you might want to do it the other way. Put the brush or the tint through your brows first. That gives you an idea of the hairs that you do have coming back, or that you still have, and then you can almost join the dot to dots to get those together. And I think that's a really, really subtle natural brow.